Donald Trump continues to be in hot water over his derogatory comments about Haitian and African countries. You know your president isn't going that well if one of your biggest accomplishments is getting NPR to say the word hole. This morning, the former White House press secretary and vice principal reassessing her life choices, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, attempted to defend the president against charges of racism.
Not only do my kids serve as a permanent reminder of what's important, they also keep me humble. You can walk into a room like this where people cheer when you step onto the stage and you might think for a second that you're kind of special. Then you go home and your kids remind you very quickly you're actually not that big of a deal. And ours are pretty good at it. So my kids keep me humble. Unfortunately, Kamala Harris doesn't have anything keeping her humble.
Whoa. What is their obsession with women without children of their biological connection?
Yeah, I mean...
Kamala Harris is the stepmother of 2 children with her husband, Doug Emhoff, Cole and Ella Emhoff. They call her Mamala. They consider her as much a mother as their own. In response to Governor Sanders' comments, their biological mother, Kirsten Emhoff, wrote on social media, quote, "Cole and Ella keep us inspired to make the world a better place. I do it through storytelling. Kamala Harris has spent her entire career working for the people, all families. That keeps you pretty humble."
Yeah.
What is this exception? But
all,
you know you're turning off an entire population of people.
No,
they just don't want those voters.
They are playing for a very small subset that relishes the cruelty. First of all, it's fascinating that Sarah Huckabee Sanders, you still can't pronounce Kamala Harris's name correctly. That's the first thing. For the other, you want to make them the other? Continue to mispronounce their name like everybody seems to do on Fox News when they know better. It's Kamala. I will talk to Republicans that will say, Trump Republicans that will say Kamala. And I'll be, what? That's interesting. Now, why do you mispronounce her name when you know it's Kamala? Make it seem like they're the other. So she starts there. Kamala doesn't have children, doesn't have her own children. And, you know, Willie, it's so patently obvious that it's just to be hateful. That's what they do. They just do this to be hateful because they know the truth. They have heard the children, Doug's children's mom say time and time again that they're all part of a blended family. You know, not everybody, I guess, is perfect, like Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Donald Trump. I guess Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, and maybe they're just perfect. Yeah. In this respect, a lot of us stumble through life. A lot of us have blended families. A lot of us figure out how to make blended families work. But I've just got to say, politically, there are a lot more people who may have blended families, a lot more people who understand what Kamala Harris and Doug are doing. There are a lot more people who understand, again, blended families than people who are just self-righteous and mean and hateful. And it does go back. I mean, they keep playing into Tim Walz's hands where Tim Walz says in Minnesota, the golden rule is mind your own damn business. They don't win any points here. They just make independents and others go, ooh, why are they so hateful? Why are they attacking a woman because she doesn't have any biological children? There are quite a few of those out there, and it's not a sin against God or humanity.
Trump 2024 senior advisor Brian Lanza told CNN's audience he found an attack on Vice President Kamala Harris actually offensive, an attack made at a Trump rally.
You now work for the Trump campaign. Trump has said he's the biggest supporter of IVF. He wants the government to subsidize it. Meanwhile, over on Capitol Hill, they can't even pass a bill giving women the right to have access to it.
I mean, listen, Schumer has his bill for the day, but we know where the President Trump stands. He's made his position clear. He's willing to move the Republican Party to him. But I do want to get back to Sarah Huckabee Sanders' comment. I, too, was blessed to have a stepmother. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to have normal conversations without a stepmother. So I found that comment to be actually offensive. I don't know what more to say about that. I'm disappointed in Sarah was saying that. I'm sure I'm probably going to get criticism from the campaign. But I have to sort of defend somebody who's a stepmom. It's a tough job. People step into that role. It's usually a difficult dynamic. My mom excelled at it. I'm sure your mom excelled at it. I'm sure you excelled at it. And we should reward that and sort of speak of that in a very high tone.
While he was there, Trump also spoke about something that doesn't really happen that often, a phone call between former President Donald Trump and Vice President Harris.
Today, a little while ago, I got a very nice call from Kamala. No, it was very nice. It was very nice. It was very, very nice, and we appreciate that.
I checked on him to see if he was okay.
Yeah.
And I told him what I have said publicly. There's no place for political violence in our country.
The timeless art of political jabs. It seems like whenever the stakes are high, certain politicians would rather exchange witty digs than focus on the actual issues. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, former White House press secretary turned gubernatorial success story in Arkansas, recently decided to take the verbal high road, well, sort of, by throwing a spicy yet questionable jab at Vice President Kamala Harris. Standing before a crowd in Flint, Michigan, she said, "My kids keep me humble. Unfortunately, Kamala Harris doesn't have anything keeping her humble." A swing, a miss, and a mispronunciation of Harris' name. A Republican tradition, apparently. Now, it's not every day you see someone accused of hubris based on their childlessness. But here we are, navigating the political playground where yo mama jokes have been replaced with yo offspring critiques. Of course, Sanders' zinger wasn't an original thought. She had a kindred spirit in Senator J.D. Vance, who's become something of a connoisseur of the childless insult. In fact, Vance is so into this line of thought that back in 2021, he went full Shakespearean tragedy by saying, "Such people have no physical commitment to the future of this country," when referring to childless politicians like Harris, Pete Buttigieg, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Basically, if you don't have a mini-you running around, according to Vance, you must be like that one neighbor who steals kids' Halloween candy just for the fun of it. What's curious about this whole childlessness equals selfishness logic is the leap it takes. Vance has insinuated that people without kids are miserable and out to ruin America's future. Cue the dramatic music. His theory, as elaborated in a Tucker Carlson interview, goes something like this. We're effectively run by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made. And so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. In other words, if you're not chasing after diaper-wearing toddlers, you're probably plotting the country's demise while stroking a fluffy feline. The problem with this logic, beyond its sheer absurdity, is that it assumes having children is a prerequisite for empathy or investment in the country's future. By this metric, are we to believe that every parent is automatically humble, selfless, and deeply committed to national well-being, while every childless person is hoarding cans of tuna for the apocalypse? Vance seems to be peddling the idea that parents have an inherent moral superiority over those without children. But this overlooks an entire universe of nuance. Are adoptive parents included? What about step-parents like Harris, who helps raise her husband's 2 children? Sanders' comment conveniently ignores this fact, but we'll let that slide for now. And then there's the issue of Vance's own rhetoric. His comments on childless cat ladies have become a Democratic meme machine, with even the Emmys taking a swing at his phrasing. It's become the political equivalent of that time someone compared President Obama's tan suit to a national scandal. It's outrageous, hilarious, and absolutely perfect fodder for late-night comedians. But as amusing as these barbs are, there's a deeper issue at play here. The underlying message from politicians like Sanders and Vance is that your worth as a leader or a citizen is tied to your reproductive status. That's a dangerous and frankly outdated narrative. For a country that prides itself on freedom of choice and individual rights, the idea that someone's value is defined by whether or not they've chosen to have children seems, well, contradictory. It's also worth noting that this rhetoric aligns with a broader conservative push that seems to romanticize an idealized version of traditional family values. The childless elite are cast as villains, while the noble parents are portrayed as America's last hope. But if we zoom out for a moment, we'll notice that some of the most effective, empathetic leaders in history, childless or not, were driven by something far more meaningful than the size of their family: a commitment to serving others. Having kids might keep you humble or just very, very tired, but it's hardly a benchmark for leadership. So as Sanders continues her mispronunciation streak and Vance dusts off his cat lady insults, perhaps the rest of us can take a step back and ask a simple question. Is this really the best we can do?
Minnesota Governor and Democratic Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz took aim at Donald Trump Thursday night at a rally in the battleground state of Michigan, where the Harris campaign is leading the ex-president by an average of less than 2 points. The Detroit News' Craig Moger posted a photo of the overflow crowd at the Grand Rapids Public Museum. Minnesota Governor and Democratic Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz took aim at Donald Trump Thursday night at a rally in the battleground state of Michigan, where the Harris campaign is leading the ex-president by an average of less than 2 points more. The Detroit News' Craig Moger posted a photo on Twitter. A portion of the crowd at a museum in Grand Rapids to hear from Tim Walz tonight. Craig Moger, September 12, 24. Governor Walz's speech was decisively down home and neighborly, but they had no trouble going on the attack as well. He told the audience that their friends and neighbors had watched Tuesday night's presidential debate, during which the Detroit News' Craig Moger posted a photo of the museum overflow crowd at the Grand Rapids Public Museum. Governor Walz's speech was decidedly down home. He told the audience that their friends and neighbors watched Tuesday night's presidential debate, during which Trump had lied that Hayton immigrants Springfield, Ohio are eating dogs and eating cats. They are eating the pets of the people that live there. Walz did not denigrate Trump supporters. Instead, he said that after the debate, I don't hear them out there much. I don't see them out there much. They are little bit because they are good people. They were our neighbors. They were like that, did not look very presidential, screaming. Well, Walz continued, what Kamala Harris was talking about is things that you actually care about. They might not be sitting down at the bar talking about banning books, but they might down there be talking about, how can I afford a house? I am working hard. I want to have a house. And because that house becomes a home, some of these folks, your real estate mogul, venture capitalist, whatever, that's just an asset to be traded and sold to whoever you want. For us, it's a place. We gather around the kitchen and table to talk to our kids what happened in school. That's what Kamala Harris wants for you. That's what she wants for you. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's segment, please share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.